If you live in California, you can walk into a licensed store and buy raw milk legally. If you live in neighboring Nevada, that same transaction is illegal. If you live in Tennessee, you might be able to buy through a herd share arrangement. If you live in Montana, retail sale is permitted, but regulations vary. The legal landscape around raw milk in the United States is a patchwork, and understanding it requires separating federal law from state law. Raw Milk, Episode 6, The Law of the Land. At the federal level, the answer is clear. Since 1987, the Food and Drug Administration has prohibited the interstate sale of raw milk intended for human consumption. This means a producer in one state cannot legally ship or transport raw milk across state lines to sell it to consumers in another state. This prohibition applies regardless of what state laws say. It reflects the FDA's determination that raw milk poses an unacceptable public health risk at the national level. State laws are a different matter. Roughly 30 states permit raw milk sales in some form, through licensed retail, farm direct sales, farmers markets, or herd share arrangements. The remaining states prohibit retail raw milk sales entirely. States that permit sales typically require warning labels, producer licensing, and periodic testing. But the rules, the testing frequency, and enforcement vary enormously. Many raw milk advocates point to regular testing as proof that their product is safe. This argument misunderstands how microbial testing works. Pathogen shedding in dairy cattle is intermittent. A cow that tests negative this week can shed E. coli O157H7 next week. The sample tested represents a fraction of the total volume of milk produced. There is a time lag between when a test is taken and when results are available. Contaminated milk may already be in consumers' hands. Testing detects problems after the fact. Pasteurization eliminates them at the source. The food freedom argument for raw milk has genuine political momentum. The idea that individuals should be able to choose what they eat and feed their families resonates across the political spectrum. We take this argument seriously, but it runs into a fundamental problem when applied to raw milk. The most severe victims of raw milk outbreaks are children, who cannot consent to this risk. And the costs of foodborne illness, hospitalizations, long-term complications, deaths, are not borne only by the individual who made the choice. Regulatory policy on raw milk reflects a judgment that the documented public health risk outweighs the claimed but unsubstantiated benefits. That is a legitimate policy position, grounded in evidence. Where the debate goes off the rails is when advocates claim that the benefits are proven, that the risks are exaggerated, or that government agencies are acting in bad faith. The evidence does not support these claims. Next episode, we'll look at who specifically gets hurt, the populations most vulnerable to raw milk illness, and why their vulnerability matters for this debate.